Welcome to our daily newscast where we give you a quick peek at the day's top stories. New GDP data shows U.S. economic growth tapered in its third quarter, expanding just 1.9%. California is still being devastated by wildfires and millions remain without power. Democrats look to advance a resolution setting the parameters of the public phase of the impeachment probe. We'll keep watching all of that, but let's take a look at some of the other topics right now. The NCAA says athletes can accept payment, a small victory for abortion rights advocates, and the White House shuts down a program aiming to prevent the next pandemic. I'm Julia Manchester in for Jamal Simmons, and this is why you should care. It's a win for college athletes this week. The NCAA Board of Governors voted unanimously to allow college athletes to profit from their name, images, and likenesses, meaning that in the not-so-distant future, the NCAA athletes will be able to sign sponsorship deals, appear in video games, and earn money from the sale of their jerseys. But this process will take time and won't begin right away. The NCAA reported revenue of $1 billion attributed to TV rights and marketing fees. California was ahead of the game to empower its own students. That state passed a law, the Fair Pay to Play Act, making it illegal to deny students, athletes, the opportunity to gain compensation for the use of their names, images, and likeness. Illinois and Florida, among other states, would follow suit, introducing bills permitting endorsement deals for college athletes. The form of compensation was not clearly defined in the statement, but the money will come from businesses, not from the schools. Michael Drake, the NCAA Board of Governors chair and president of Ohio State University, said, quote, "This modernization of the future is a natural extension of the numerous steps the NCAA members have taken in recent years to improve support for student athletes, including the full cost of attendance and guaranteed scholarships. The NCAA's 3 divisions will have until 2021 to write rules and specifics. So why should you care? Parameters will be put in place to dictate the ways athletes are able to make money within the principles and guidelines of the NCAA. This is good news to many of these students. The ability to profit from their own images is a literal game changer." The movement to protect abortion rights netted a small victory this week. A judge blocked an Alabama law that would have prohibited abortions, even in cases of rape or incest. Though only temporary, the U.S. District Judge Myron Thompson filed an injunction on the grounds that the law defies a Supreme Court precedent and, quote, defies the Constitution of the United States. Federal judges in 5 other states, Ohio, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi, and Missouri, also blocked strict abortion laws similar to that of Alabama's. A string of the most stringent laws against the procedure were enacted in an effort to have cases tossed to the U.S. Supreme Court, with the end goal being to overturn Roe v. Wade. This term, the Supreme Court is expected to consider a case out of Louisiana, June Medical Services versus Gee, that focus on restrictions against providers. The 2014 law maintains that physicians performing abortions must obtain admitting privileges at a hospital within 30 miles of where the procedure is performed. Advocates at the Center for Reproductive Rights fought the law in court, where a federal district court granted a temporary stay, and now it will be in the hands of the nation's highest court. So why should you care? The fate of Roe v. Wade could be challenged since the makeup of the Supreme Court tips in favor of conservatives. The Supreme Court struck down a similar case in 2016. At that time, the court still had Justice Anthony Kennedy, who, although conservative, sometimes sided with his liberal counterparts. But this time around, Justices Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh are sitting jurists. Some predict that the court is more likely than ever to overturn that landmark ruling. The federal government is shutting down its disease surveillance program called PREDICT. The program's research focused on rooting out animal viruses that could be threatening to humans. Founded in 2009, the United States Agency for International Development ran PREDICT after the bird flu scare of 2005. Backed by both the Bush and the Obama administrations, the effort was pricey, but it had successes. Over the course of 10 years, the program gathered more than 100,000 samples and discovered more than 1,000 in new viruses, including an Ebola virus that had flown under researchers' radars. Predict's former director, Dennis Carroll, says that despite the support the program received, things got complicated. According to the New York Times reporting, quote-unquote risk-averse bureaucrats led to the program's end. Some aspects of Predict will continue under other departments of government, but the core program that involves working with researchers across the globe to find viruses is effectively toast. So why should you care? Pandemics almost always make the news when they happen, but that is only after many have already been infected or even died. Efforts to understand, predict, and prevent these diseases are underfunded, and while the U.S. does have agencies to work on pandemic preparedness, the leadership is still not there. Experts fear that ending Predict will leave the world more vulnerable to dangerous viruses such as Ebola or MRSA. That's something that none of us want to face.
Thanks for watching Hill TV on YouTube. Be sure to click subscribe and hit the bell so you know when we post new videos, and head to thehill.com for all the latest political news.